guys, and welcome back to the Mind Body Planet podcast. This week is a solo episode, just me. And really, it's because we have officially hit 6 months of doing this podcast. Is that not insane? Is that not crazy? Does that make you feel a little giddy inside? Because I definitely do feel a little giddy. I started this whole journey not really knowing what I wanted to do with this, how we were going to take this podcast, if I was even going to like podcasting. And along the way, I've learned so much. Like, I actually do not think I am the same person that I was when I started this podcast. I think I have become, okay, I'm going to get into some of the things I've learned, but I don't want to throw off our normal format because I like our format. I feel like we've all come to expect the normal format. So let's go backwards. Let's do this week's favorites. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, and I think you can tell in some of the episodes where I'm like, okay, let's hop into it. And then I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Backwards. Let's do the week's favorites. Okay, so my favorite is I'm recording this and it's actually Halloween, even though you're not going to hear this. You are going to hear this probably a few weeks from now. But my favorite is Halloween is always a fun time. I love looking at people's costumes. I personally have not really fully participated in Halloween in a while. I think since I graduated college, I just stopped going to Halloween parties, mostly because I moved to a new city, didn't really know a lot of people here. And then now my fiance and his family, we do Halloween with them, but it's not like a huge party where we think about our costumes that much. So yeah, we go with my fiance's family, and yeah, I just feel like the last couple of years, we haven't really played up the whole Halloween thing, but I love looking at other people's costumes. I really do. And I even have these witch earrings. They're like little witch hats with little feet dangling out of the hat. Very cute. So I'll probably wear those tonight. And who knows? We'll see. I'll shop my own closet, see what I have, see what I can kind of come up with. I think they're actually going to be Who's from Whoville, like Sandy Lou Who. Oh, I should know that by now, but I don't. And this is cool. This is super cool. Okay. It's great outside. The weather is chilling. It is a chilly day outside. I want to say it's in the 50 degrees, but I'll look it up. Let me get you the correct. It's 51 degrees outside. The high is 16, the low is 44. So it's a nice day for trick-or-treating. I'm so used to growing up, and Halloween was normally really hot, and it was, I don't know, not that fun. You couldn't really dress up because costumes typically have multiple layers to them and pieces to them. So you end up really sweating and then having to take it off anyways. That was always something I always ran into with my Halloween costumes. And now it's chilly out. So you could wear kind of whatever you want to wear and not have to worry about sweating. How amazing. I was never one of those girls though that wore the more risque Halloween costumes. I was the girl that showed up in the inflatable Wiggly Man costume to most of my college day parties, and I would definitely pick some pretty weird ones, but that's just me, That's just me. That's just what I do. I don't know. Anyways, it's a beautiful day outside for trick-or-treating. I don't think it's going to rain, so that's always a plus because it has been raining some of the other days this week. But that's where I'm at right now. It's a great day. I'm loving it. It's my week's fave. We'll see what I end up dressing up as. If I dress up as anything, who knows? I feel so lame saying that. It is what it is. It's just me. I'm living my truth, okay? Now we're hopping back into the things about this podcast. A little 6-month celebration. Let's celebrate together. If you're driving, go ahead and give yourself a high five. Sure. If you're not driving and you're cleaning your house while listening to this, give yourself a high five. Whatever is safe. Don't do anything that's dangerous, guys. But celebrate because I have my little iced coffee here. I'm recording this in the morning. You can hear it. That's nice. I did crushed ice this morning, so I was yeah, let's celebrate. But 6 months into the podcast, yeah, like I said, I didn't really know where this was going to go, if I was going to like it, what we were really going to talk about. And so far, I've truly fallen in love with the entire process of podcasting. Even when I was editing them and was I say so a lot or I go a lot, and realizing that, yeah, I still do that a little bit, but I've gotten a lot better about not saying some of those like filler words. And I've also learned how to be more vocal and confident in my thoughts, if that makes sense. I feel like when I graduated college and moved into corporate reality, the reality that is the corporate life, the 9 to 5, and you have all these bosses and you start at the low end of the totem pole, you just kind of do what other people ask of you. And I think sometimes like you forget that you have your own opinion. And I don't know if I'm the only person that has had this experience, but I just feel like as I've gotten older, I've changed. And I don't think that's definitely a universal experience. Everyone changes. Everyone has new likes and dislikes that suddenly come in and out of their lives. And as I've gotten older with the pandemic, it was kind of like we came out of this pandemic and technically we're still in it because COVID's not fully gone. But for the most part, things are pretty much back to normal, I would say. You kind of come out of it and you're like, oh my God, like it's been 3 years. Who am I now? What has passed? Do I still like the same things that I liked? Like I went into this pandemic, I was technically 21 years old and now I am 25. So, I mean, that's several years that it's like formative years. Like, how do I know that I like the same things, that I want to be around the same people? And coming into the podcast, I think I was so nervous to put actual words and like put it out into the universe, actual things that I was thinking. And I'm so happy I did. I do feel like it has truly increased my confidence, and I have you guys to thank for it. I really wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for people actually listening to this. And even if no one was listening to this, I still think I would do it because I've just gained so much insight into who I am as a person and what is important to me. And I really, honestly, would not have done that if it weren't for that. And I think the other thing that I've learned is working from home is hard sometimes, and I love it. I don't think I could ever go back to like 9 to 5, like cubicle office life. I definitely do not think I could do that. However, working from home and being self-employed now at this point, I really miss human connection. And I think that there is something so important in sharing other people's stories and their experiences, because you never know who's going to listen and appreciate someone sharing that story or feeling like they've learned a new perspective on someone else's experience. Maybe they experience something similar. You never know what somebody else is going to get out of it. And there's so many things about this podcast that have truly just changed my perspective on the world. And I love it. I want to keep sharing these stories, and I want to keep sharing these perspectives that people have to share, and share my own, really. So those are some of the things that I've learned. I've also feel like I've really improved on my listening skills and asking engaging questions for when I have guests on and do like the more interview episodes. I do feel like I've gotten better at learning more. I normally write like a bullet list, like a little kind of script almost, just like kind of talking points that I want to ask. But sometimes when you're actually recording, there are other questions that come up that you're like, actually, like, I kind of want to derail this a little bit. And at first I was pretty set on just going on my bullet point list. But now if I feel called to ask a question that's maybe not on that list, I definitely feel more confident in doing so. So I always feel like that's good. Hopefully you guys think the same. And I also have learned that I really love this. I really, really love this. So as far as the future of the podcast, we're not going anywhere. We're definitely going to keep on doing this. I do need to decide if I want to do like seasons for the podcast. Some podcasts just don't have seasons at all. They just post weekly on a certain day, certain time every single week. And some podcasts will take like a month off, take maybe 2 months off, and then separate that into different seasons based on different topics. And so I do feel like it would be cool to do something like that and just kind of take a pause and step back and reevaluate and see what people really like listening to and what you guys kind of want to hear from me and the podcast. And so still trying to figure out that, but we'll figure it out one day. And when I do, I'll let you guys know. The other thing that my goal for the podcast is I'd love to get this sponsored at some point. I would love to have somebody who could, step in and like be a sponsor for this and help kind of keep this going, to share the education and share the knowledge and keep sharing these stories with y'all. So maybe one day we'll get there, but we're not there yet. Other than what I've learned on the podcast, it's no secret. We're in November now at this point, and The holidays, I don't know about you guys, but like the holidays for me are like one of my favorite times. I'm a fall girl through and through, but I also love winter. I do. However, November, December for me has always been like pretty stressful. And I guess as I've gotten older and kind of coming out of the pandemic, kind of like we were just talking about with how I was feeling towards the podcast, I think I felt very weirded out because I was like, how do I actually want to spend my time during these months, during these holidays? What is most important for me and what do I want out of them? And with social media becoming such a huge thing and TikTok becoming something where it's like, they've got TikTok shop now. So it's like very buy this, buy that. And I'm not made of money. No, I do what I love and I'm able to make enough to where I live, but I'm definitely not like rolling in cash right now. And I think sometimes it's consumer culture really, because they want you to consume more and more. And sometimes I hate using these like buzzwords, but it is what it is. Okay. It's consumer culture. But I do want to acknowledge everybody out there who might be feeling the same way, like maybe just feeling like, how can I look at the holidays and feel less overwhelmed, less anxious, less concerned with others, and really create an intentional holiday that's right for me and what I want out of the holiday season. Because like I said, I love the holidays. There are so many things about Thanksgiving and the Christmas season that are absolutely incredible, and just kind of the aura of the world just feels a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, and people seem nicer and they're more willing to give. And I think there's so many beautiful aspects of it, but I do feel like it can become overwhelming when you see a lot of marketing going on to buy X product, Y product, and then you feel this obligation to gift like the best of the best gifts for all of your family members, and this feeling of, okay, let me just show up to a holiday event that my family's hosting and there's gonna be 50 people there, but maybe you're not great with groups, and that's me. If it is a group over 10 people, I can't do it. Like I just cannot do it. It's too many people. It gets too loud. And honestly, like I'm a kind of girl, I like 5 and under. 5 and under. That is me. Any more than that, I don't know. Something happens, something switches in my brain and my body, and I just don't feel as comfortable, and I don't feel like I can be myself truly. So if you relate to any of this, I have some things. Even if you don't relate to that, I have some things on how you can create an intentional holiday. And I'm going to do this on my other social media platforms too, but I love this one because it's long form, so I can kind of ramble as much as I want, which is wonderful. I love it. Okay, so the first thing, which is really boring. This is going to be so boring, and you're probably going to roll your eyes and you're going to groan and be like, ugh. But the first thing is boundaries. I know that is way easier said than done, but setting boundaries that you are comfortable with for your holidays, and setting even your own boundaries, your own expectations for what you want out of the holidays, is absolutely crucial to creating an intentional holiday, because everyone's going to have a different desire, right? Everyone's going to go into the holidays, and some people may want to spend as much time as possible with their family. Some people may want to just spend more time outside. Some people may want to volunteer more, give back to their community. Everyone's going to have a different expectation, and it's important to have your boundaries, because some families, not every family is perfect, and I know that. And some boundaries for some people may be, I just want to spend time with my family, but I don't want them to make fun of me or ask about my weight or ask about my job or, feel like I'm getting interrogated. And all of those boundaries are important in order to create an intentional holiday, because at the end of the day, you want to experience these holidays and you want to sit back and be like, I had a great time and I got everything that I wanted out of that holiday. And you're confident with that. So number one, check your boundaries, create them, create your expectations on what you want out of the holiday. That always helps me. Even write it down. If you're not a journaler, I said that weird, write them down. Definitely do it. And you don't have to expand on them, but if you even just had a bullet point list, if you just whipped out your phone right now in the notes section and just wrote down a few things of what you're willing and not willing to do this holiday season, you're going to be better off for it. I'll tell you that much. All right. And now I have number two. Number two, I probably sounded weird. I was itching my nose. Number two for an intentional holiday, absolutely beware of advertising. Ads are rampant right now, and it's spooky. It's kind of concerning. This time of year, it just seems like everyone is trying to sell you something, because a lot of times Q4 for most businesses, this is where they make their most revenue, because people are buying Christmas gifts. They're just feeling this holly jolly spirit and just constantly buying something new, buying new decor, buying new, I don't know, presents, buying a new coffee machine because they have people coming over and they're like, we need to have good coffee for our guests. You never know why, but the ads right now are going to be insane. And I do feel like it puts this pressure on you to buy, to just purchase and keep purchasing. But I'm here to tell you that you do not have to buy a bunch of new stuff. You just don't. You don't have to do that. And even if you're feeling like, well, how am I going to give Christmas gifts to all my family members, or Hanukkah gifts, whatever religion you are, how am I going to give gifts to my family without buying something new? There are ways, and I will get into that. There are ways. I do feel like this is also not a great year, I guess. I think, there's talks about potentially going into a recession. And while I am not a financial person, I know we're not currently in one, but we won't know if we're in one until after it happens, essentially, is all that I really know about recessions. But I do know that inflation is high and money is tight for so many people. And so when you see these ads, you feel even more this sense of guilt, like, why can't I afford that? Or I should go into debt in order to pay for all of this, or I should be taking out of my savings account in order to afford gifts for everybody. But again, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to buy a bunch of new stuff. So I have some examples for you, some examples of things that you can make that are homemade and arguably more thoughtful than just going to Target and buying a blanket and a candle. I've got some examples. So these will all be nice to your bank account as well, and also be thankful. Whoa, be thankful. What am I saying? Thoughtful. They'll also be thankful. No, thoughtful. Thoughtful was the word I was trying to go for there. Okay, so 2 that I'm making, and if you're my family, go ahead and skip ahead a few minutes because I don't want to spoil this for you guys. But number 1 is homemade vanilla extract. I actually made this last year. And honestly, if this is going to be a gift that you want to give, you kind of want to do this a few months in advance. So really, like July would have been the best time, or maybe even June, because the vanilla takes a while to actually make vanilla extract. It takes a few months in a dark closet, in the back of a closet. However, I totally forgot, just did not do it back in June or July of this year. So I'm actually still going to do it this year. And what you can just do is put on the label. So basically, it's any liquor that you have. So it could be vodka, could be, I don't know, whatever the liquors are. Tequila, technically, I don't know how well that would taste. But you could do bourbon. You could do gin. You could do whatever. I like vodka. I just think that's kind of the more traditional taste of vanilla extract. But what you do is you get a glass jar. You can order them from wherever. You could probably even thrift them. I think I got mine off of Amazon. They were under $20 for 8 of them. Fill it up with whatever vodka liquor of choice, and then you put 5 vanilla beans in there. You just kind of want to cut down the middle of the vanilla beans, so that way those, the actual flavor can actually, what word am I looking for? Can not dissolve, can so the vanilla extract can be made, so it can soak, I guess. I don't know what word I'm looking for. If you know it, let me know. I don't know what word I'm looking for. So that is one. It's fairly inexpensive. Last year, I think I made 16 of those to give out to all my different family members in the different households. And it cost me under $50. So $50 divided by, I guess, 16 of them. I mean, it was very inexpensive. The upfront cost was maybe a little costly, but once you kind of narrow it down and divide it amongst all the different homes that you're going to gift it to, it's actually pretty affordable. Of course, you have to be 21 to do that because you have to buy the liquor. That's the only downside. If you're not 21, or if you don't want to make homemade vanilla extract, the other thing you could do is homemade jam. Another super easy thing, you can order or thrift mason jars and go to the grocery store and pick up apples, for example, are in season right now, or really any kind of berry, really any kind. You could even do lemon curd. I think you could do lemons for this too, for sure. And just Google a recipe online and make some homemade jam. Then you can put a cute label on it, from the kitchen of whatever your name is, and do something like that. You can also do a homemade candle. I like the ones from Everly. Those are going to be a little bit more expensive, but still really cute and really thoughtful. And there are definitely some other things that you can do as well, like a homemade simmer pot, maybe for your neighbors if you're used to giving out gifts for neighbors or teachers, which is simmer pot. If you don't know what a simmer pot is, it's basically like a group of ingredients that you put in water and then you boil it or you simmer it on your stovetop, and it makes your whole home smell like whatever those ingredients are. So typically you see that with apples, oranges, maybe pine, cinnamon, and clove. The anise stars are also very popular in recipes. Those are all fun things that you can kind of throw into a simmer pot, and it's basically like a candle, but it's not a candle. It's, I guess, more sustainable because it's just water and then a bunch of fruit and spices that you can compost afterwards. Some people actually make it and it kind of turns into a nice tea. However, you have to be very specific on the ingredients because if you just throw in like whatever you like the smell of, it's probably not going to taste good. So just heads up on that one. Those are all free things that you can totally make, and they're homemade. They're great for your budget and also really thoughtful. I love when I get a homemade gift. I'm like, oh, this was great. Maybe a little bit more time than hopping onto an online shop and just like shopping something random. But I think it's worth it in my opinion. So keep that in mind. Okay, moving on. The third thing for an intentional holiday, give grace to others during this time. You never know what someone is going through, and this time of year can be really stressful. Now, I'm not saying if they do something that's absolutely awful to just like let it go because you don't know what they're going through. Definitely hold them accountable if it's something really bad. But for the most part, this time of year is so stressful. So even if it's a coworker, if it's a friend and they're kind of lashing out, you don't know what they're going through. And I do also feel like if you know someone that has lost someone this year, this is a great chance to reach out to someone and just say, I'm thinking of you. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to like buy them something or, offer to like drop off a home cooked meal or whatever. But I just think knowing that if someone has lost someone important to them, that they are supported by other people is just absolutely countless. And I think that that tends to fall into intentional holidays as well, because you know that that person may be struggling right now. Okay, and last but not least, which kind of falls into this as well, but reach out to friends and family. As long as you know your boundaries, which was step one that we already talked about. The cold weather is not fun for everyone, and a lot of times can make you feel really down because it's too cold. You don't spend that time outside that you're used to during the summertime. And whenever I feel that way, I always feel better whenever I make an extra effort to reach out to my people, my inner circle, and I check in with them, see how they're doing. And a lot of times maybe they're feeling the same way, or if they're not feeling the same way, they're just a good person to listen, to vent to feel supported and know that they've got my back no matter what. Also, when I'm feeling like this, I love to light a candle and have like super cozy vibes in my house. I'll put like the 4K fire log YouTube video that like lasts like 10 hours. I can put that on my TV and then I'll light a candle. Sometimes I'll put on like some smooth jazz, and honestly, just the vibes are totally immaculate and it feels really cozy and warm. I love that. That tends to help too. So those are my tips for having an intentional holiday this season. Please take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health. Remind yourself that it's okay if you can't do what everyone wants from you, as long as you have your boundaries and your expectations in place. Just push yourself to keep them in check. Don't let somebody else try to push your boundary more than you're willing to give them. Okay, we have made it to good climate news. Today's article is titled, "They're not like regular dads, they're climate dads." I love this article so much. You definitely have to read it. It's going to be in the show notes. Climate dads are a little bit nerdy, a little bit obsessive, and 100% focused on saving the planet. I will link it in the show notes for anybody interested. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much for listening, and happy 6 months of the podcast. It's so fun. I love it. If you have a second, please leave us a review. And if you want to follow us on social, you can follow Mind Body Planet Podcast at Mind Body Planet Podcast on Instagram. You can follow me, Crystal Geyer, at Crystal Geyer on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And guys, I'm going to see you guys next week. We have some fun episodes coming up, kind of focused around the holidays and just mental health and just family dynamics, and also how you can be a little bit more eco during the holidays. So we've got some fun stuff, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So I will talk to you guys then. Bye.